College of Law. I, Larissa Gomes, Assistant Professor, extend a warm and amiable welcome to each one present here in general, and in particular to our distinguished Chief Guest, His Lordship, Hon'ble Shri Justice Mahesh S. Sonak, High Court of Bombay and Goa. Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, the President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, Advocate Pritam Morais, First Vice President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, and our Principal, Dr. Goretti Simoes. To this magnificently glorious day that marks the inaugural of an intellectually stimulating lecture series, the GRK Judiciary Talks. We are honored to have you all here today as we embark on this enlightening journey of knowledge to the world of justice, law, and jurisprudence, inaugurated by a legal luminary par excellence. When the invocation descends into the heart, if there is darkness within, it illuminates it. And if there is already light, the invocation increases the positivity and intensifies it. It is a mark of an undying tradition to invoke the Almighty at the beginning of an important event. I now call upon our students to perform the invocation song.
Ah
Thank you, students, for that absolutely melodious and soulful invocation. Before we move any forward, I would like to take this opportunity to also acknowledge the presence of our former principal, Shri Ramnath, respected members of the governing council of the college, our esteemed guests from the legal fraternity, and to the members of the press. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. The lighting of the lamp expels darkness, ensures blessings, and brings prosperity and happiness. We will now invoke the blessings of the Almighty by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. I now request our chief guest, His Lordship Hon'ble Shri Justice Mahesh S. High Court of Bombay and Goa, Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, Advocate Pritam Morais, First Vice President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, and our Principal, Dr. Goretti Simoes, to please come forward and to do the honors. I also request other dignitaries to please come forward.
So your activism will also be required. Sir.
Thank you, dignitaries. Without further ado, may I request our esteemed principal, Dr. Goretti Simoes, to kindly escort the dignitaries on the dais. Thank you, dignitaries. It is with great honor and anticipation that we welcome the distinguished President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal and Chairman, Governing Council of Govind Kare College of Law, Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, to deliver the welcome address for the inaugural of the GRK Judiciary talks. Sir is a visionary who has been at the helm of our institution, steering the institution with dedication and a commitment to excellence. Under Sir's leadership, our institution has achieved remarkable milestones, grown both academically and culturally. Sir, we are eager to hear your insights and words of wisdom as we embark on this new journey. We believe that your welcome address will inspire us all and set the tone for an unforgettable day.
Thank you. Good morning. Very eminent legal professional, and now we have become one of the most vibrant judge of the lower judiciary, His Lordship Mahesh S. My dynamic Vice Chairman of GRK College of Law and Vice President of the Daivajna Mandal, Advocate Pritam Morais. Very able and competent faculty and now acting principal of Kare College of Law, Goretti Simoes. Dignitaries in the audience, very eminent and constitutional expert, Advocate Leofar, my dear friend and colleague on GRK College Board, Advocate Amira, past ex-principal, Professor Ramnath, Advocate Arsekar, Advocate Prasad Naik, Advocate Sanil Rao Desai, Mr. Manavekar, Mr. Barsekar,
Mr.
Kerekar, and my friend Rupesh, advocates, teachers, non-teaching staff, and very dear students. It's my pride to welcome you all for this function, and I must credit this to Advocate Pritam Morais for enabling this. GRK Judiciary Talks is going to be one of the game changer. We are inaugurating this today at the end of his lordship. It's going to be an enlightening experience to you all. The idea is to disseminate the real life experiences from the experts who have been in the justice delivery system for long. Idea is to bridge the gap between the practical aspects of law vis-a-vis what you learn in your college. And we are very passionate at GRK College of Law to take this college to become one of the most vibrant, most admired college of this country. I have been talking about this, we are taking steps, but unfortunately the response of the students is not so encouraging. So this time I would like to appeal to students, if you can make a small group, and if we start deliberating from the students' expectation perspective, we also would like to judge to what extent you are thinking and where you should be thinking. This is what we also would like to start throwing towards you. The profession of law is going to be beyond courts. India is becoming part of the global trade pacts. Earlier, we used to have only one or two trade acts. Today, it's getting broadened up with RCEP is coming in a big way. FTAs are being signed regularly. India is going to be one of the global leaders in trade and commerce. We are also going to be expansionist, whether we like it or not. The only way the other global economies have realized the importance of India, especially due to the balance of power in South Asian markets. To contain China also, India has been seen as one of the strongest global partner. All this is going to add to the benefit of India, and gradually India also is given market access in different countries. The reason I am telling you, I am not telling you from a commerce perspective, but whenever the commerce expands, it is also the expansion of the legal profession that happens. The international trade understanding is very important. International legal system understanding is very important. At the same time, understanding of your own legal system in terms of the changing dynamics of law is extremely crucial. So everything does not happen in court, it happens beyond courts. A lot of things happen beyond the local areas. So we have to work on this. I will talk to you all separately sometimes because Pritam is very clear that I should not be speaking for more than 3 minutes. Right? So I don't want to disregard him. So we will speak. The future is faster than what we think, and the legal profession is going to be one of the sectors which will be disrupted with the changes that will happen in the legal system. Government of India and Supreme Court and all the high courts are taking very good steps in enabling towards AI. AI would require 2 to 3 years to stabilize or maybe more, but you will see all of a sudden there is a shift in the way the justice delivery system happens, the Indian Evidence Act, the way you record evidences, with the kind of dissemination of technology it will change. And the linear models of working will go towards exponential models. So I think you have to keep a watch. So you being a student, you have next 30 years to practice, you have 30 years to look forward to a very bright career. So make a very good foundation by anticipating what would be those changes of future. And this is where we need to create a work group. And Vidyavikas Mandal and the management of GRK College of Law will do everything that is possible to make our students globally competitive. And I thank, now I must call him Mahesh Bhai, for his constant support to us. Every time we meet, he always says, Nitin, let's do something. I am there. Forget about that, I am a judge, but I am there for you all. And I would like to do this. And I have a very long student. So, thank you very rarely we have come across somebody from Judiciary who has been so supportive to us. And with your blessings and with your support, I guarantee you we will do our best. My dream is to make every student who passes out of GRK College of Law should be one of the ones who is in demand for the things that he has learned about the future in advance. Thank you. I wish you all the best. I welcome you all for this particular.
Thank you, sir, for the warm welcome and your kind words. Flowers have a unique way of expressing emotions and sentiments. Each bloom, every petal, and all the colors together can convey feelings of love, joy, and gratitude. These flowers serve as a symbol of the warm welcome we extend to our esteemed chief guest today. May I request Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, President of the VVM, to welcome our chief guest. Thank you very much, sir. The primary objective behind the GRK Judiciary Talks is to have a glimpse of the jurisprudence of law through the perspective of the judiciary. We at GRK College of Law believe that knowledge sharing is crucial to the growth of any discipline, and the legal field is no exception. Our aim is to facilitate thoughtful conversations, ignite intellectual curiosity, and inspire a new generation of legal minds by actively involving legal enthusiasts, students, and professionals through such thought-provoking and academically enriching sessions. Over the course of the series, we have curated a diverse range of topics and intend to invite esteemed speakers who are authorities in their respective domains. These talks will not only cover fundamental legal principles, but also address contemporary issues, the evolving landscape of law, and the role of the judiciary in shaping the law and our society. To kickstart this unique and one-of-a-kind lecture series, we are honored to have in our midst a distinguished jurist, His Lordship, Hon'ble Shri Justice Mahesh S. Sonak, High Court of Bombay at Goa. We couldn't have asked for a more befitting speaker to set the stage for the GRK Judiciary Talks. Sir, we are truly honored to have you among us today. It is now time for the most anticipated part of today's program, the introduction and address of our distinguished chief guest. And to do the same, we are delighted to have with us today the first Vice President of the Vidyavikas Mandal and the co-chairperson and the co-chairman Governing Council, Govind Ramnath Kare College of Law, Advocate Pritam Morais. Sir is a prominent and distinguished advocate in South Goa. Sir's professional journey is marked by achievements, awards, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. Sir is a meritorious alumnus of the college and has been awarded the prestigious Gold Goa University for his academic excellence. Sir is a beacon of inspiration and a guiding force for our institution. Sir, I kindly request you, please take over and you are just a privilege.
Thank you, Larissa. Some things I myself did not know about me. His Lordship, Justice Mahesh Sonak, dignitaries on the days, of the days, students, ladies and gentlemen. As I stand here to introduce both the concept of GRK Judiciary Talks and His Lordship Mahesh Sonak, I recollect a famous dialogue from the movie Johnny LLB. The judge in that movie, Judge Sharma, tells one of the lawyers, कानून अंधा होता है, the law is blind. Judge नहीं, the judge isn't. उसे सब कुछ दिखता है. This dialogue introduces both the concept of GRK Judiciary Talks and a distinguished chief guest of today's function, Justice Mahesh Sonak. Now, why do I say so? Those who read the newspapers must have read about the wholesale fish market. They must have read about the Sonak garbage dump issue. All of us have been visiting the wholesale fish market. We see the film, we close our eyes. Sometimes, when the stench is intolerable, maybe we suffocate ourselves by even stop breathing. Nobody reacts. The law remains in the law books. We suffer the pain quietly, and then we require a vigilant judiciary, His Lordship Justice Mahesh Sonak, to awaken our conscience. So moto, take cognizance of these issues, and then there is a light somewhere in the darkness. In both these issues, people of Margao now see some light after a lot of complaining. The concept of GRK Judiciary Talks is precisely this, to make the students active, to get in the activism in our students. The purpose of Judiciary Talks is to see at law in the eyes of the judiciary. And who else could deliver the inaugural address for this than His Lordship Justice Mahesh Sonak. Friends, Nitin and I have been trying to make this institute one of the best institutes not only in the state of Goa but in the entire country. And with this mission in mind, we have been borrowing concepts which have been followed in other leading law colleges. And we found that one of the trends in leading law colleges is to make the students listen to legal luminaries. When you listen to legal luminaries, you have a legal luminary amidst us as a role model. You know the viewpoint of law from a different perspective than what is there in the law books. Under this concept, we would invite members of the judiciary from all over India to come and interact with our students. I hope that our students would take the benefit of these interactions. I would describe the life of Justice Mahesh Sonak with a small dialogue in Hindi. जिंदगी की असली उड़ान अभी बाकी है, जिंदगी के कई इम्तिहान अभी बाकी है, अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन हमने, अभी तो सारा आसमान पर राज करना बाकी है. Justice Sonak has been both a part of the bar and the bench. When he was part of the bar, I would often call him the Himalaya. This is a term which I borrowed from Dr. Usgaonkar. Amira would also be familiar with that. There were often instances where Dr. Usgaonkar would stand up and argue his matters. The opposite lawyers couldn't confront him with the knowledge of law, and then they would try to provoke him. They would get a little personal, they would raise their voice. Dr. Usgaonkar would never get upset. His foundation was strong. He said You should be like the Himalayas when you are arguing the matter. The Himalayas stand still, irrespective of how strong the storm or the wind is. Nothing moves the Himalayas. Justice Sonak has been something like the Himalayas. Cool, calm, composed. I never saw a day where we would lose his temper. I've not been practicing before the Honorable High Court, so I do not know whether the trend has changed now. With that, I sum up my speech. It's my privilege, a proud moment, to present before you GRK Judiciary Talks and the inaugural lecture by Justice Mahesh S. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have now come to the highlight of the inaugural ceremony, the eagerly awaited address of the chief guest, lessons from a law school. Sir, may I request you to kindly take over the session.
Nitin Kunkolienkar, the President of VVM, Dr. Goretti Simoes, the Principal of this institution, Advocate Pritam Morais, the Vice President of the VVM, my friends and colleagues, Advocate Leopardo, Tutino Almeida, Amira, Principal Attorney, the dignitaries on the days, off the days, and my dear fellow students in law. The expanse of law is so great that one never ceases to be a student of law. Each day you discover how much there was that you did not know. In a sense, legal education is therefore a progressive discovery of the magnitude of one's ignorance. Therefore, as of necessity, we must all follow Mahatma Gandhi's advice that we must live as if this was our last day on the earth, but we must learn as if we were to live in eternity or forever. Dear students, it is said that broadly there are two kinds of fools in this world. First, the ones who give advice, and the second are those that do not accept the advice. Pritam and Nitin have today called upon me to belong to the first category, and I do so in the fond hope that you do not belong to the second. Friends, they say that education is a technique to transmit knowledge. If knowledge is acquired and gained by one scholar, and if it were to live and die with her, then perhaps the march of civilization would be seriously hampered. If civilization is to advance, and advance meaningfully, then education, and particularly legal education, must enlighten our understanding and enrich our character. The two hallmarks of a student whose understanding has been enlightened and capacity are her capacity to think clearly and her intellectual curiosity. Friends, if your education has equipped you to think for yourself about the problems that you encounter, your society encounters, our great nation encounters, then your knowledge has done its bit towards your education. But if by now this habit is not inculcated in you, then I think you should put in an effort to acquire this habit once you have completed your education. Because I think Mark Twain, who famously said that college education can do you no harm, provided you are willing to learn thereafter. Friends, they say that a woman is a product of her thoughts. What she thinks, she becomes. The content of your thoughts is not for me or for that matter anyone else to dictate or advise. Education must equip you to think clearly, to think independently, to think fearlessly. This should be the proper aim of education. Today, we live in an age where we adore and glorify computers and smartphones that think. But we are extremely suspicious and even worried of human beings who even attempt to think. Artificial intelligence, as has been pointed out by dear friend Nitin, is of utmost importance. But there should be limits to artificial intelligence. It would be a very sad day and a sad world perhaps if we were to mortgage our ability to think, our ability to make intelligent and sensitive choices, if we completely concede our faculties to some machine or to some algorithm, however intelligent that machine or algorithm may be. We should not want to, and we should never atrophy our thinking faculties. Otherwise, there will be no difference between a human being and a machine. We cannot, or at least we should not, let humankind be robbed of its humanity. Now, this capacity to think clearly, independently and fearlessly would enable a student to sift, to discern, and if necessary, reject the ideas and ideologies that are perpetually inflicted by the mass media tools that are growing powerful each hour. A few decades ago, the world was at war with the WMDs, as they were called, as weapons of mass destruction. Today, the social media or the mass media have become weapons of mass distraction, not destruction. And yet there is no concerted effort to battle them. In my own way and by way of experimentation, I have been on a news diet for almost 4 years. By not reading or seeing the news, I realize that I am quite uninformed over several issues. But I guess it is better than being misinformed. So the choice often is between uninformed and misinformed. But friends, please do not misunderstand me. It is not as if I am or I could be against any newspapers, news channels or other means of mass communication. Being an ardent supporter of free speech, obviously I have no grounds against the proliferation of social media or mass media. It cannot be. But I wish to sound a caveat here. I urge you to consider the possibility that social media or mass media may be sometimes driven by narrow or parochial agendas. Sometimes such agendas may be as simple as to sell some consumer goods. Sometimes they may want to sell ideas or narrow or stifling politicians or political gains. Again I say that there is nothing wrong with this. Everybody is entitled to have their views and to propagate their views. But educated minds must at least consider that it is possible that such things are happening or that such things are possible. After discounting these possibilities, it is up to the individual to make the choices or decisions. At least my complaint would seldom be against the precise choice made or the decision precisely taken. My complaint is against forsaking the habit of clear, independent and fearless thinking. My complaint is against the growing tendency of being herded like sheep. My complaint is against going with the tides, not because on mature consideration the tidal flow is found to be the best way forward, but simply because it appears to be the easy way out or the expedient way out. That is, to my mind, not a hallmark of an educated mind. Friends, I would urge you to make independent choices, to make informed choices. I would urge you to cultivate the habit of making independent and informed choices. What choice you make is not at all important at this stage. Each of you has a right to make your own choice on several issues that plague each of us. But what is important is, and I again emphasize, the habit of thinking. The habit of thinking clearly, thinking independently, thinking fearlessly, thinking not out of selfish or parochial considerations, but thinking with a long-term vision, thinking from a perspective for what is best for not just us, but for our society, for our country, and now for the universe. Again, it was Mahatma Gandhi who said that your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your habits become your values, and finally, your values become your destiny. We are what we repeatedly do. So therefore, excellence is not one single act, but it is an habit, as was explained by Will Durant. Now, when I speak of excellence, not just on this forum, and not because Mr. Kunkolienkar is present amongst us, but whenever I speak about excellence, one name which comes to my mind and one image which comes to my mind is that of Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, and I say it with all my heart. There are very few persons who have striven for excellence and who have achieved excellence in an excellent manner. This is admirable, but even what is most admirable is his constant endeavor to give back to the society, to inspire others by his example, to help others. In fact, what is most important, Nitin, is that with your conduct and whatever you have achieved, you send out a message that it is possible for our students, our dear friends, to dream of achieving excellence, and we really thank you for this. Thank you very much. Friends, this institution has been formed by a lot of contribution from the members of the Kare family almost about 50 years ago. It is your good fortune, I must say it is your excellent fortune, that today this institution is being headed by such a dynamic and such a positive person like Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar. And Nitin, I really thank you for your vision and for all that you are doing for all of us. Thank you very much. Friends, coming back to this obsession which I have about clear thinking, independent thinking or fearless thinking, I must tell you that I think that the true purpose of education is not to just simply keep you with information. You are all very competent enough to gather information. According to me, the true purpose of education is not to fill up your empty minds with facts and figures or information. Education should aim to transform your closed mind into an open mind. I quote this too often, please excuse me, but I say that mind is like a parachute. It functions the best when it is open. Thinking with an open mind exposes you to the importance of appreciating pros and cons of any situation or idea. It assists you in accommodating opinions of various shades without being unduly swept away by any. It develops qualities of pragmatism, compassion, inclusivity, which are essential to the molding of a good lawyer, a good judge, and ultimately a good human being. Be on guard against fanatics. A fanatic, they say, is a person who does not change her opinion, come what may, and does not allow you to change the topic, come what may. Usually these are products of a closed mind. A closed mind is not conducive to legal practice. In law, as you all know, we emphasize upon complying with the principles of natural justice. One of the most important principles is that a person must be heard before any adverse action is made against him or her. Now, hearing, or at any rate, an effective hearing, cannot be simply with open ears and a closed mind. That would be no hearing at all. That would be just a pretense of hearing or an empty formality. Friends, history has shown that if you imbibe the ability to think clearly, independently and fearlessly, then it is likely that you begin questioning ideas or ideologies that are for the moment trending or popular. Surely, friends, I do not advocate that there should be any opposition for the sake of opposition. Undoubtedly, in a democratic society, the majority view must prevail. That is the raison d'etre of a democracy. But never make the mistake of thinking that the intrinsic value of an idea or a thought or a proposition is always proportionate to the number of people who support it. History bears out that quite often the reverse is true. The intrinsic worth of an idea or a thought is often inversely proportional to the popular support that it commands. George Bernard Shaw, in his inimitable style, once explained, he said that a reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. And therefore he concludes that all progress in this world depends on that unreasonable man. Otherwise the status quo would continue. Status quo, by the way, is the Latin word for the mess that we are always in. Alfred Marshall once said, and I will quote, "Students of social sciences must fear popular approval. Evil is with them when men speak of them." It is almost impossible for a student to be a true patriot and have a reputation of being one at the same time. Friends, from an early age, develop the habit of independent thinking. This is not easy because invariably there are costs to be paid and consequences to be borne. But that, at least to my mind, is the right way. Mahatma Gandhi again pointed out a typical trajectory in such matters. He said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then ultimately you win. The other hallmark of a student whose understanding has been enlightened is intellectual curiosity. A well-formed mind is as rare as a well-lived life. Therefore, do not commit the error of going through your life merely by doing the routine chores of the day, year after year or day after day. Do not become mere passengers in this wonderful journey of life. Get interested in some hobby. Take interest in history of our country's priceless heritage. Find out what gives you joy and pursue that path. Friends, style and fashion is fine. This is your age to indulge in style and fashion. Nobody would grudge you for indulging in them. But please remember that in the long run, style and fashion depend on how you furnish your mind and your thoughts. This is what gives a person a poise, inner strength, a sense of confidence to face the world. Friends, please consider reading good books. Good books, say of literature or history. Any topic would do. I mentioned history and literature because of what Sir Walter Scott once said, and I quote, "A lawyer without history or literature is a mechanic, a mere working mason. But if he possesses some knowledge of these, then he may venture to call himself an architect." The books replenish your life, make you fuller and richer. Another great scientist, Albert Einstein, said, and again I quote, "It is essential that the student acquires an understanding and a lively feeling for the values. He must acquire a vivid sense of the beautiful and what is morally good. Otherwise, he, with his specialized knowledge, more closely resembles a well-trained dog than a harmoniously developed person." Friends, your own experience, they say, is a great teacher. But sometimes the tuition fees can be very, very expensive. Your own experience gives you the test first and sends you the bills later in form of some impacts, unavoidable consequences. Books share the experiences of the authors. They give you an insight into their lives. They enable you to share their valuable experiences. Particularly in the field of law, there is wealth of knowledge in the form of biographies and autobiographies of eminent lawyers and judges. Friends, please read M.C. Chagla's Roses in December to understand how even the greats in the profession struggled in their early days and how the struggle continued for a considerable length of time. Read Lord Denning's books to understand how only a clear mind can produce a beautiful amalgam of law and literature in simple and lucid language. Read Boswell's masterpiece on the great Samuel Johnson to understand what the legal profession is all about and why it is not for a lawyer to prejudge a client's cause or to refuse to accept a brief, entertaining a notion that the client is already guilty or has a false case. Read about the lawyers and judges who gave up their careers or at times even their lives so that independence of the bar and judiciary was never compromised. Read John F. Kennedy's Profiles in Courage. It is a very small book concerning about 7 or 8 senators who did what according to their conscience was right and proper, knowing fully well that their judgment would cost them their political careers. Friends, the second function of education is enriching the character. This means developing an intellectual integrity, a sense of values and courage. Courage, my dear friends, goes all the way. Maya Angelou explained that courage is the most important of all virtues, because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently. Courage is the resistance to fear. Courage is the mastery over fear, but it is not the absence of fear. Nelson Mandela explained that courage was not the absence of fear, but rather it was the triumph over fear. A brave person is not the one who does not feel afraid, but a brave person is one who conquers that fear. Friends, they say that ship is the safest in a harbor, but that's not what ships are made up for. Nani Palkiwala, one of our most eminent lawyers, in his address to the students in Bangalore University said, and I quote, "We are surrounded by too many persons who are willing to compromise and temporize. We have in our midst far too many boneless wonders. With such persons, expediency is all. A person who has the courage never to submit or yield is like a rock in the wilderness of shifting sands." Palkiwala bemoaned that in our country nothing is so scarce as intellectual integrity. Even the world over, he says that intellectual integrity is much rarer quality than even financial integrity. He says that the treason of the intellectuals consists of not speaking out loudly and clearly for the values that he or she, by the very nature of his or her personality, holds sacred. What is needed is resolute courage to stand up for a principle, even though for the moment such a stand may not be very popular. G.H. Hardy, another great scientist, said, "It is never a first-class man's time to express a majority opinion. By definition, there are plenty of others to express that opinion." Friends, there is no replacement for a sense of values. The standard of life is more important than the standard of living. If we lose our sensitivity towards the quality of life, towards sense of values, towards acquiring courage to speak truth to power, it can only mean that while our knowledge is increasing, our ignorance has not diminished. Always aspire to a full life, a fulfilling life, not just to make a living. Friends, I would recommend Pali Nariman's autobiography, Before Memory Fades. In particular, you should read a chapter 5, which is entitled as School of Hard Knocks. Pali Nariman begins his chapter by referring to one of the most frequently asked questions by law students as to how a lawyer must prepare to argue an important case. And then Nariman answers it as best as you can. He refers to Robert Jackson's 3 arguments in every case. Robert Jackson was a judge of the US Supreme Court. He was also a prosecutor at Nuremberg at the war trials. He says the first is the argument that one plans. It is usually logical, coherent, complete. Then second is the argument that one actually presents in the court, and it is incoherent, disjointed, sometimes disappointing. And the third one is the argument that you did not make at all, or you did not think at all. This is usually the utterly devastating argument that you think of after you go to bed at night and the matter is already over. Nariman said that very often he followed the same trajectory and he had the same feeling. And he speaks about the advice given by the great C.K. Daftari. C.K. Daftari told him, always remember Pali, it is better to spend more time thinking about a case than merely reading a brief. He says that this was the most invaluable advice given to him in his entire working life. Personally, I think that as law students, you must inculcate the habit of finding answers to legal problems by reading and intelligently analyzing the text of the law, what we law students call it as the Kare Act. Only after you have reached a decision and formed an opinion based on your analysis of the bare text, should you go to the case law and see whether your opinion aligns with the decided cases. If it does, very good. However, if it doesn't, you get an opportunity to find out where you erred, which was the significant point that you missed or which you did not grasp. Nariman also warns against the syndrome or the malady, which is currently extremely common, of placing excessive emphasis on case law. Nariman refers to this syndrome or malady as a case law diarrhea. Friends, always remember that in law there is nothing like absolute right or absolute wrong. Mostly these are matters of opinions, these are matters of different approaches, these are matters of different perspectives. Therefore, never be disheartened or disappointed if your analysis finds no approval from a decided case on the subject. Always strive to develop an original argument. Instead of overemphasizing on precedents, try to go to a place where no one has gone before and leave behind a trail for others to follow. Set a precedent. Instead of simply following precedents, develop an original argument and set a precedent. As a lawyer, you must, as of necessity, keep abreast with reported decisions, particularly of the Supreme Court and your parent High Court. But as I said, never fall into the trap of requiring crunches of precedents for every point that you make. Have confidence in your own original thinking. Ultimately, please remember that most of the law is nothing but common sense, which is unfortunately made complicated by lawyers and judges. Therefore, do not lose touch with common sense. I think again it was Mark Twain who said that common sense is becoming the most uncommon commodity nowadays. Regarding precedents, friends, always remember, be fair to the court. The duty of fairness to the court and the judicial system is the first duty that any lawyer owes to our judicial system. Therefore, point out to the court a decision that apparently appears to be contrary to the cause you would like to espouse. You may distinguish the case, point out how it does not apply to the facts of the case or for any other reason, but never suppress a relevant precedent in the belief that the other side or the judge may not know about it. Never cite an overruled case. You may get away with such practices once or twice, but someday you will be caught and remembered as a person who is not quite reliable. Credibility is everything in legal practice. Without credibility, your intelligence, industry, presentation skills may not be of much avail. As I said, in the field of law, there are never any absolute rights or wrongs. That is the reason why we have appeals, second appeals, special leave petitions, and then there are reviews and even curative petitions. Justice Jackson, whom I quoted earlier, famously said, "We are not final because we are infallible. We are infallible only because we are final." I am sure if there were to be a court above our Supreme Court, then perhaps 50% of the Supreme Court judgments also would be reversed or overruled. Friends, when you argue a case in the court, try to be clear, precise, and not confused. Your mental output must flow, and for it to flow, you must be well equipped and well prepared. Don't be messy. Present a cogent and a logical argument. Respond to court's questions promptly, even when the question may sometimes put you off the track of your argument. When a judge wants to know something, you must tell him now, not later. When the judge asks you a question, the response that I will come to this point later is not always a very good response. Instead, you must learn to give your answer first and present your point afterwards. A judge who speaks his mind while you are arguing is not necessarily against you or your client. Don't jump to such conclusions. Don't get defensive or offensive. You should in fact welcome a judge who speaks his mind, because then you have the opportunity to persuade him to your point of view. If a judge decides a matter without opening his mind while you are arguing, the ultimate judgment may not be an ideal judgment. As a lawyer, you may also feel that if the judge had even hinted to me that this is what was going on in his mind, I would have had a complete answer. I could have completely demonstrated to him that this is not a correct thought. Many a times, judges pose questions to advocates because they want to get the best out of you, not because they are against you or against your clients. Therefore, merely because some question is asked, do not be either over defensive or confrontational. Always keep your points. The entire edifice of the legal system exists and can survive only on mutual good faith between the bench and the bar. Pritam recalled about my days of practice. I do not know whether I deserve the compliments that he paid to me, but I must, very great sadness, say that I have changed, and I have changed for the worse as a judge. Mira and Leopard will bear my witnesses. I have become extremely impatient.
When you will want to do this?
I have become extremely, she's not a hope, so she made it that way. But it's a fact. I have become extremely impatient, and in a lighter vein I would say that whenever I was a lawyer, I would always imagine why I have to make a simple point once, twice, thrice, 4 times. Why do I have to repeat myself so much so that the judge would understand? And at that time you would say that the stupid old person would understand. Now that I have become a judge, I often wonder why lawyers keep repeating themselves. Friends, in the legal profession, the worst enemy of hard work, and this might be controversial, but according to me, the worst enemy of hard work is a fixed monetary reward. For there is simply no incentive to work hard if you are receiving some regular pay or stipend. Those initial struggling years are important to legal practice. Please believe me. Ideally, you should have a lot of work to do for your senior or your legal firm, and you should have bare minimum to get for all this hard work. Most of the time, this combination serves as the best springboard for success at the bar. No doubt sometimes this can be absolutely crushing, but I think contrary to whatever anyone may say, affluence or too much of security in the initial struggling years is not very conducive to success at the bar. Adversity, as you know, causes some people to break, but it also causes some others to break records. Prosperity, they say, is a great teacher, but adversity is an even greater teacher. If the road is easy, please check whether you are going in the wrong way. Again, Nariman says that in a court it is always better to understate your case rather than overstate it. Never start your case by telling a judge that you have a cast iron case or a 100% case. In 9 out of 10 cases, says Nariman, the natural urge of the judge will be to downsize you and prove that your case is not as watertight as you think it is. Justice Krishna here used to quote frequently in his judgments Oliver Cromwell's famous exhortation to the General Assembly in the Church of Scotland. And Oliver Cromwell had said, I beseech you in the bowels of Christ, think it possible that you might be mistaken. I mean, this warning applies more to judges than to lawyers, but ultimately judges are a product of the lawyers themselves. Never consciously make an incorrect statement in the court, or otherwise you run the risk of being mentally blackballed by a judge. Being mentally blackballed by a judge is a practicing lawyer's greatest occupational hazard. If you deliberately make incorrect statements and make a habit of it, your assertions will be looked upon like the chimes of the proverbial Irish clock that strikes 13. You know those grandfather clocks? Those are basically Irish clocks, and they have that pendulum. People who have to listen to you will not only disbelieve the 13th chime, but will have great doubts about the correctness of the first 12. In a court, always be firm and dignified. But please do not confuse these qualities with rudeness or arrogance. Learn to lose with dignity. Please remember that in an adversarial system, only one side can win the case. Nariman says that lawyers should never give interviews or talk to the media in cases where they have appeared. It smacks of cheap publicity and is unfair to the judge who cannot respond. It is also unfair to your opponent who may not be given an opportunity to refute what you say. If a judgment has to be criticized, leave it to the disinterested parties. Let others comment on it. Criticize the judgment before a court of appeal by all means. That is what appeals are all about. I would strongly urge you to read some good books, partake experiences of great lawyers and great judges. Never ever be discouraged by comments like this profession is too crowded or that this profession is meant only for sons and daughters of established lawyers and judges. True, sons and daughters of some established lawyers and judges may have some special advantages if they choose to take them. But as I said earlier, neither affluence nor too much security are good springboards for success at the bar. Many a times, adversity in the initial years produces stunning success stories at the bar. Therefore, never be discouraged by such comments or such sentiments. There is plenty of room in the profession, not only at the top, but at all levels. You have to be prepared to work hard, develop some habits that we have discussed today. Mr. Kunkolienkar gave you a wonderful assurance. He not only gave you an assurance, I am sure you must be living up and providing for all your legitimate needs. They are committed to making this college one of the best colleges in our country. Please thank him for this. And the best way to thank him is not to say thank you, but by proving to him that you have become good lawyers, you have become good citizens, and you have become good human beings. That is the best gratitude I am sure you will expect from them. Yes. Friends, on occasions such as these, after a guest speaker has spoiled what might have otherwise been a great weekend, a guest speaker is expected to wish you all good luck. I believe I too am inclined to follow the same mode. But the Chief Justice of the United States, Chief Justice Roberts, once defied this mouth. He was invited to his son's school to deliver a commencement speech. Allow me to quote some of the experts. And I quote, "Now the commencement speakers will typically also wish you good luck and extend good wishes to you. I will not do that, and I will tell you why. From time to time, in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly so that you come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time so that you do not take your friends for granted. I wish you bad luck again from time to time so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life and understand that your success is not completely deserved and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. And when you lose, as you will from time to time, I hope every now and then your opponent will gloat over your failure. It is a way for you to understand the importance of sportsmanship. I hope you will be ignored so that you know the importance of listening to others. I hope you will have just enough pain to learn compassion. And whether I wish these things or not, they are going to happen. And whether you benefit from them or not will depend on your ability to see the message in your misfortunes. I think we could not have put it better. Friends, they say that the true foundation of every state is the education of its youth. Youth has no age. It is a state of mind. A beautiful thing. Kailash Satyarthi, the Nobel laureate, remarked that the power of the youth is the commonwealth of the entire world. The faces of the young people are the faces of our past, our present, and also of our future. No segment in the society can match the power, idealism, enthusiasm, and the courage of the young people. Therefore, I urge you with all my heart to remain forever young. I end with the lyrics of a wonderful song written by yet another Nobel laureate, Bob Dylan. The title is Forever Young. Let me read it out. May God bless and keep you always young. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands be always busy and may your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful and may your song always be sung. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for those extremely insightful and knowledgeable words. We will all ensure that we put your kind advice into action and strive for excellence. We will think fearlessly and take independent and informed choices in life. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Sir, we are extremely thankful to you that you consented to be a part of this inaugural ceremony. Your presence has made it extremely special, and as a sign of our gratitude, I now request our President, Mr. Nitin Kunkolienkar, to present a memento to our Chief Guest. Thank you, dignitaries. We come close to the conclusion of our program, and what an incredible inaugural ceremony it has been. But this program would be incomplete without expressing our gratitude towards all those who have made this program a success. To deliver the vote of thanks, we have our charismatic and esteemed Principal, Dr. Goretti Simoes. Ma'am graduated in economics from Bombay College of Arts and Science, Miramar, and thereafter pursued law studies from VVM College of Law, and secured a gold medal for having topped the LLB program from the Yoa University. She has also secured 3 gold medals in the subjects of constitutional law, legal theory, and for overall topping the LLM program at the Goa University. She started her teaching career in the year 2006 in this very institution. Ma'am has been awarded a PhD on the topic Critical Analysis of the Laws Relating to Sexual Offences Against Women, a study with special reference to the state of Goa. She has multiple awards to her laurel. Ma'am, your guidance, vision, and constant support have been instrumental in making today's event a resounding success. We are eager to hear your thoughts and expressions of gratitude. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Larissa, and a very good morning to all of you present here today. Respected His Lordship, Hon'ble Shri Justice Mahesh Sonak, dignitaries on the days, of the days, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be standing here before you for expressing my words of gratitude. I would, at the outset, begin by thanking our esteemed Chief Guest and the star resource person for today's inaugural address of the GRK Judiciary Talks, His Lordship Hon'ble Shri Justice Mahesh Sonak, respected Judge of the High Court of Bombay at Goa. Your Lordship, your eloquent speech has left everyone present here spellbound, especially the perfect manner in which you did justice to the topic Lessons from a Law School. I have certainly learned a lot, more particularly the concept, confidence in your creativity. I am therefore standing here delivering this vote of thanks with a lot of confidence, coupled with a little bit of creativity. Thank you for having accepted our invitation to be present here today amongst our midst. Not just once, not just twice, but 3 times in a row. I'm sure that this popularity that you have gained in South Goa is much, much more as compared to what you already have in the North. I wholeheartedly thank you, sir, on behalf of the staff and students of our institution. Hope to give you a grand welcome every time you lend in our small yet humble abode. Ever grateful to you, sir. I would also like to thank the President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, Shri Nitin Kunkolienkar, for gracing this occasion by his gracious presence. As rightly said by His Lordship, his unending efforts and encouragement is worth a million. He has always supported the institution in all its endeavors. Thank you, sir, for your presence here today. I also wish to express my gratitude to Advocate Pritam Morais, the first Vice President of the Vidya Vikas Mandal and the co-chairperson of the Governing Council of this college. GC has always conceptualized this novice idea of judiciary talks. These talks were on since very, very long to have this inaugural address, which kept getting deferred time and again. But I'm finally happy that this concept, which has been conceptualized by Advocate Pritam Morais, has finally seen the light of the day. Thank you very much, sir, for adding yet another feather to the cap of GRKCL. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the President of PTA, Advocate Abdul Arsikar, the President of GRKCL Alumni Association, Advocate Sanjeev Desai, the President of South Goa Advocates Association, Advocate Prasad Naik, all the esteemed members of the GC, all the advocates of the South Goa Bar Association, and all the alumni of this institution for having taken time off their busy schedule for being here with us today. Appreciate your presence, and with your help, I'm sure this institution will climb greater heights for the years to come. I would also like to thank the press, more particularly the Goa News Hub, especially Mr. Rupesh, for covering this inaugural function. Thank you and my gratitude. Our faculty, the superstars of today, have silently put in a lot of tireless efforts, right from personally devoting time towards finalization of the menu requirements to getting tokens as gifts to be presented to our esteemed guests. They have surely supported me really, really well. Thank you all for this untiring efforts of yours. The system administrator, all the administrative staff, the multitasking staff, to all of you, I owe my profound gratitude. Last, but definitely not the least, our strength, our assets, our students, more particularly the Students' Council, who have walked an extra mile along with us to make sure they are present in all our endeavors. I thank you all wholeheartedly, and I am extremely overwhelmed by your presence here this morning.
Round of applause for Principal. I'm really delighted to have her in this place. That's it. Thank you.
If on account of some inadvertence I have skipped taking any name in particular, I place on record my apologies, as time is extremely short and the list of Thanksgivings a lot more. So once again, thank you one and all for your precious presence. Have a lovely weekend. God bless you all.
May I request for a standing ovation to His Lordship for his constant support, especially to Vidyalaya of Kare College of Law and to the fraternity of students. They have been always there without any protocol, without any much fanfare. His commitment, emotional commitment, which appeals all of us. Thank you, Mashwari. Thank you.
I request everyone to kindly join me for the national anthem. Janagana Vinayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Banga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Ujjala Jaladi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience and enthusiastic participation in today's inaugural function.